Hello, everyone. There we are. What's up, guys? Today we're going to do a roleplay review, and this one's going to be over Dance Partners, which is Kerwin and Swansong. Once I find the effing log again, just use the sheets. There we go. Beautiful. This isn't a very long log, so this won't be a very long review. To be perfectly honest, I mean this log, it's gonna be hard to kind of like pull anything out of it to give it a long kind of video review, but we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna try it. We're gonna do our best. I'm in a good mood. I had a good role play and I feel good, and I want to talk about RP. So, characters in this one are Charles, played by Swansong, Kerwin, and Swansong themselves. This type is a character building and drama, and the summary is: a spark of interest sways Swansong to spare Kerwin, and Kerwin tries to find mutual ground with the assassin and survive. Now, that summary and synopsis is a little bit more intense than what actually happens here. So, if you guys remember my last review with these two characters, they had a fight. The dance, as Swansong calls it, and in the dance, Kerwin almost lost his life, almost died, and Swansong got pretty messed up themselves, and so they are taken to Charles, who is a Ripper doc, which we ripped directly from Cyberpunk 2077, but that's okay. That's one of the beautiful things about our setting. We can pull pretty much everything from anything, and it all makes sense, and it all works out. So, moving on. They have a conversation, the Ripper doc does, and Kerwin, and it's basically, this is what happened to you. This is what you're going to need to kind of go on. And Swansong, or Lux, does a very good job, as they always do, of kind of making it feel very real of what happened and what you should do. And they take a really good job of making this seem like it actually happened to someone. You know, like it's not just, hey, put this gauze over your gaping wound and you'll be okay, right? It's like, you know, they they make the joke of like sewing those stitches a second time is going to cost you. Right, and everything with Charles and everything with Swansong is very robotic and very imitating of human like activity and how humans work, or how mortals and fleshlings work. But it's all off a little bit, right? Like they will say things, but then emote them in a weird way, right? Like, they will look at you, but they won't smile because they just know, kind of like a blind person, right? They just know to look in your general direction, but they're not looking you in the eyes. Their weird face plates are just in your direction. And there's a lot of really good character in this, right? I say that this log doesn't need a video review because it's one of those logs where it's like a breathe space. It's a log that you need to have to get you from point A to point B. If you're going to be role playing kind of quickly after one another, right? If there were like months in between where, you know, the last fight happened and then, you know, they want to go do something else, they don't need this log. But if you are going to be kind of role playing like this log to this log to this log, you do need one of these breathe space. You need something that says like, okay, here's the aftermath. Here's what happened after, you know, I got cut across the middle by these mantis blades, and, you know, and I got my arm and leg blown off, and, you know, like you need these kind of logs. But really what happens is that they were on Vegeta, and Swansong takes Kerwin to Earth, and he has this funny line where he says, "She stepped on my shoes," right? And it's one of those, like, you know, we're making a pun on the dance, and the dance is just, you know, the fight. But you know, they're on Mikono City, or in Mikono City on Earth, sorry, meeting with Charles, and pretty much every bit of Kerwin's recovery and surgeries that he's needed to recover from this fight have been paid for. And I know that Lux said that they wish they could go back and redo this one. And I understand why. We'll get to that in a little bit. and they were like, "Hey, be nice," like, and we'll talk about that. But I mean, overall, this log is a very, very good one. Especially on the thing of Kerwin, because not that it's ever a competition of like who's role playing better. It definitely isn't that. But I say that this is good for Kerwin because in this log, we finally get what a lot of people, and I'm the worst of it, like a lot of people don't really tell us what the motivation of their character is, and we get that motivation here from Kerwin. We finally get to kind of pin the bad guy token on him. Sorry, Kerwin, you get to have this. Your character, kind of a douchebag. And not in the like we don't like him. I like having villainous characters, right? I love having them, but we know that Kerwin now kind of isn't a nice person. We get to find out that his goals are he has this Lord Cade, which I do think is his older brother. I think either older or younger brother. I know that it's his brother, and he wants to elevate his brother in any means necessary, right? And by any means necessary, literally any means necessary. He says in here, if I have to like blow something up in the process, then I don't care. If I have to kill someone, I don't care. If I have to kill 1,000 someones, I don't care. Like he really has this like cold heartedness to him that we've never really seen. And that can be one of two things, right? It could be that the writer is getting more, comfortable with the character and getting more comfortable with the setting, getting more comfortable with DBI and DBI roleplay. And it feels like, yeah, like this is the direction my character can go in. Or it's just been a ploy this whole time. I mean, we haven't really ever seen anything happen to Kerwin outside of the stuff that's happened on Orthos. And I think that like now that they are role playing with other people and getting experience with other people, yeah, I think they feel comfortable of saying like, yeah, my character's a bad guy. Bad guy is always an antagonist, right? He's not a bad guy as in has he done anything bad? No, but I mean he definitely has that potential. And they just have a conversation, and I think where Swan Song, and I'm only guessing this is what Lux was talking about, is that Swan Song does kind of come off and say like, well, you haven't told me a goal, you've given me a drive or an ambition, but you need to like tell me about you. And like when I was reading it, I'm like, yeah, you're not wrong with where like what you're saying, but I don't agree with how Swan Song was coming at it, and I think that's what Lux was saying. And to that, it's like, I have to kind of respond to what's here, and it's not that it's a bad thing. I think Swan Song having these feelings towards what was said to them is not wrong, and I don't think it should be omitted. I just think it's part of that character in the moment. Yeah, I mean, eventually they just kind of agree that, we are fighting for different purposes, right? And kind of Kerwin, I don't want to say hires, but they kind of have like this like agreement that maybe at some point, Swan Song will work for him. But they need a better purpose. It's like, okay, I can see where this is going, right? And guys, when we role play, we are doing everything there in the moment, right? And, some of us will take a little bit more time to kind of really think about like, okay, what should I say? How should I react? Because this is kind of like, we're doing it live and this is the story. Some of us go back and change it. But I wouldn't say like feel bad for anything that you wrote. There's definitely like you can have remorse, right? But I wouldn't. There's nothing bad here. There's nothing there's nothing that stands out. There's nothing that I was like, oh, we need to talk about this. Like this needs to not happen. No. Again, this is just a log that there is a breathe space, but I think that the major thing of the log is that we find out, Kerwin gives us who he is, what he is about. and he just wants to elevate his brother. Now, is there purpose beyond that, right? Who knows? Thinking about this when I first read it, I was like, oh man, Nova would be crushed to find this out, but Nova doesn't really know Kerwin that well. Like they met once and they exchanged names, but she just knows him as the fishmonger, and was like really excited that there were people out here outside of Yasai City living in Orthos. Knows dick all about what else is going on, about like basically the thieves and bandits that all lived there, and how like it may have been a front for them. The fact that Kerwin's Virian, and I think that Kerwin being Virian might be something that we can really touch on. Like I think that might be something that could be something, right? Just the fact that he made this character Virian, and the way that he's talking, the way that he's kind of bringing himself about, I won't say like Virian invasion, right? But it could definitely set some like political things out of whack that could lead to tensions between these now two separate clans of Saiyans. It could be something. I'm not saying it has to be. I'm not saying it should be. It could be something in the future. And having a log like this, having a story like this, is a good setup for something later down the road, because now we have the log that shows, okay, this is where the rapport between Kerwin and Swan Song began, right? And if they do become either rivals or friends, or there's just contracts between them, this is the log that started it all. So again, by itself, the words on page, it's a meeting, and it's great character work, and it's good, and it should be talked about, and it should be highlighted, and you guys should get your flowers. There you go. Is there anything spectacular that happened here? I mean, again, I don't have anything really to say, because it just wasn't that kind of log, right? It was just a couple of people talking and having a conversation. But again, I think the really big thing here, Kerwin, we have his motivation. We have a little bit more character work for Swan Song. We have something that I think Lux can kind of flow with, right? And this could be a log for them where it's like, okay, well, did I really like how that went, or do I want to kind of focus it somewhere else? And these characters are people. They are people. They can feel one way and they can feel another, and I think playing an android doesn't change that. We kind of think that androids are all programmed to be one thing in one way, and then they go and they are. But I think that from here we can either keep going down the path that we were going on Swan Song, maybe diverge it a little bit, or whatever you want to do. It's good to see the character talking and engaging with a person outside of like a intense combat situation, and not something that happened in a solo from like their history way back. They're just live and in the moment, and this is what I feel for this character. So I'm not gonna ramble on anymore. That was a good log. You guys should go read it if you want to. If not, I've been Riz. You've been great. Have a great day.